Welcome here for my short introduction and presentation about D&B SustainSymphony, sustainable software tool. My name is Robert Trebus. I'm the Global Director of Sustainability for the D&B Group. We take care about entertainment, live entertainment technology. You see the loudspeakers here from D&B Audio Technique. We're one of the global leaders in the entertainment technology market. And sustainability is for us what is quite important, not only for the manufacturing plants, for the organization itself, also for our customers, for the market, because we see there a strong development in the market. And we like to help, we like to assist, and we like to see that the whole industry is speeding up with the activities. When we have a look to other market segments, other industry segments, we will find out that we are too slow. Other industry segments are much faster, much wider. And if you dive deeper into the topic, you will see nothing is simple and nothing is possible very fast. So that's the reason why we like to promote, like to help and assist with the SustainSymphony software tool. I serve in a lot of standard organization and committees to define the global standards of event sustainability. We work together with a lot of associations to develop practical processes and structures and standardize them to really make sure that everyone reach the goals at the end and also define the same goals for that what is sustainability. So as mentioned, I like to talk today about our new tool we had put to the market, the SustainSymphony. This is a cloud-based tool where you can collect the data from your events and find out how sustainable the event is itself. So what we show here is the first version of the tool, and it is something we developed together with the help of a lot of industry associations, with their green work groups, with consulting companies, and with the feedback from famous artists out of the market about their strategies. And we try to find out how we can assist with a tool to make it simpler and easier. What you see here, what we're talking about, is version 1.0. So it is a simple starting version, but there's a lot of know-how knowledge in the tool. I will show you to help you to make it simpler, easier, and faster to create sustainability reports and develop your own sustainability strategy. What I like to mention here, even if we now start to dive deeper into the software, there's a lot of clever ideas in the tool. This tool is free. So we decided to give it free away. It's a cloud-based tool. You just have to go online, register there, make your user account ready, and then you can use the software for free. Because for us it was important that we really kick off and drive the sustainability development in the live entertainment segment. And we hear too often that the people don't have a budget for sustainability, and we believe that that is not really the case. You should do it for free. If you have the time, start, learn, improve, and then you see it has a value. It has a value also for a commercial operation. So when you talk about sustainability, the most people can't grab really what is sustainability. It is just a term, it's not very precise. There are some definitions out there who really define what means sustainability. On the one side, we have the 17 Sustainable Development Goals from United Nations, a very holistic aspect of how you describe sustainability. On the other side, we have the ESG reporting frameworks that is coming from the industry, from the finance industry, that defines really the KPI structures on what is sustainability, how you measure, and on what segments you improve. So when we are talking here about developing a software that helps you, of course, it has to respect both the 17 Sustainable Development Goals and the ESG framework, because, and that is a topic of the session, sustainability is not voluntary anymore. You will see that the finance industry will start now to ask you about your sustainability strategy, about your footprint. Sustainability is identified today already as a business risk. So the finance industry is very much behind that to motivate their own customers, you, to develop a sustainability strategy to minimize their risk. So this is important to understand. So when you develop sustainability strategy, they have to be at the end in the environment that also your finance partner understand what you do, your sponsors understand what you do, and your shareholders understand what you do and how you improve. So what is SustainSymphony? SustainSymphony is, I mentioned, a cloud-based tool. It's working on the cloud, so you got online access to the tool, can work with that. And we tried to build here a ESG style version that is specifically designed for the live entertainment industry. So we were looking into the production process and the structure and the field of the responsibilities of the individual stakeholders, and see that we develop a user interface that is very simple and easy to understand, and use the terms, the definition of the processes you have in use every day when you work with the system. So there are different modules, different elements, and I will explain you what you can do with that. Important is to understand that the tool is there to help you, to assist you, and assist you in building a sustainability strategy and execute your sustainability strategy. Sustainability is something that can be described as a mid and long-term process. To make you even more sustainable, you need to run it again and again. You need permanent improvement. Sustainability comes out of a process chain. So this is important to understand. And when we're talking about how you typically start, when you like to begin with that, so it's typically you start with an audit. So you look first, what is the status today? You collect data, information about your operations, about the stakeholders and the data. And then, of course, you need to engage your team. Yeah? You need a training, introduction. You have to set internal goals, because sustainability is a classical multi-stakeholder environment. So all of your stakeholders, and that can be also your suppliers, your sub-suppliers, and the suppliers of the suppliers, the whole supply chain, have to work with you together to reach and improve your sustainability. This is important to understand. Also, it's important to understand that sustainability is something that has to do with setting a goal and reaching that goal. So if you want to improve your sustainability of an event, you need a lot of individual goals, and make sure that you reach your goals. Out of reaching the goals, you define your sustainability. So it's really important to set realistic goals. You have to understand that sustainability is a mid and long-term process. So don't do very high-level goals. Don't overpromise. Make realistic goals, because that helps you to go ahead, to reach the goals. That is positive for you and is positive for your team, because you execute something that is really possible. And this is also on another aspect extremely impossible, because we hear very often still from people say, this is all expensive, I don't have the budget. So it is a typical example if you find and define unrealistic goals, or if you start too late, it gets expensive. So if someone identified it as expensive, it is an indicator from starting too late and set unrealistic goals. You have to develop mid and long-term goals. And really, to see how you improve, you see, you collect data, define the strategy, make mid and long-term goals. You understand you need to collect data. You have to measure what you do. You have to compare, see what are the results, and find out if your strategy works. If you really reach the goals, and you have a documentation about that. And what is really important, as I mentioned, to reach a mid and long-term goal in general, you need to have a kind of a strategy to repeat the things permanently. And this is what we find in management systems. The approach is that plan, do, act, check circle. So you really have to define your strategy, execute them. You have always to check what is the results. Then you have to run a gap analysis to find out if I really reach the goals or I missed them. Was the goal set wrong, or the activities were not correctly? And then you have to optimize your strategy. So that plan, do, act circle is a very important part of a sustainability strategy. That means also, when you define a sustainability strategy and operate them in a sustainable management system, you need to collect a lot of data, KPIs, to measure what you do. And this is important, because this is the strategy behind SustainSymphony. We were looking for the industry-specific data KPIs you can collect you can measure, you can improve. That means you build your sustainability strategy on that. As we worked quite a lot with venue locations, famous artists, and other industry associations, we got a lot of feedback what is not working well. And we also hear quite a lot that it's sometimes difficult to collect data on site on the event itself. It's very time pressure. Sometimes you forget to collect the data because you were too busy. That all is not very productive and helpful. And we also found out that a lot of data that is helpful for you is typically existing, but you don't have access to the data. So, and that was the reason why we said, okay, we need to build a kind of a business ecosystem into the platform itself. So beside the main module, this is the event module, where we take the event data for a sustainability report, we have also additionally stakeholder modules in the system. One of the stakeholder modules is, for example, the venue module, I will explain later, or the products and services or organization module. That should help you if you do that frequently, again and again, every day, a lot of events every year. You need a kind of assistant to not double collect data, to make the access to the data easier and faster. So, as I mentioned, it's a free tool. You just go online, register an account, and then you are in the system itself. So let's see how that works. I mentioned just there will be different modules, different elements. So when you go online and register with a user account, you can select if you are a venue owner, if you are event planner, operator, if you are a manufacturer, because then you can specifically add data only in these database segment structures, or you do everything if you like. So you just click on what you want to do, and then you have access to the different modules. This is something you can change every time later. You can start very simple with the green event module and then add later products, venue location, organization module. This is just a question at the registration. So it's very simple. And of course, we also have a kind of a project management site in the tool where you can set up multiple events, you can set up multiple venue locations, you can set up multiple products and can manage them, you can delete them, copy them, backup, rename, everything what has to do with project management. On that page is also marked that here the button to create reports. So you can create reports about products, you can create reports about organizations or venues or the event itself. So we have for every module event reporting page. So let's go into the details. So if you're in the system itself, you're registered, you selected the type of user you are, then you go to the main screen and you see the center there is the main module is the green event module. So what we're doing in the green event module. So we work with a lot of industry associations to identify the event-specific data structure. What type of data is important in the live event industry? And this is something what is event industry specific. So there's a lot of other software out there that is more industrial ESG software. And I can tell you in other industry segments, audience travel or catering is not a significant data. So you will find here a lot of data structures that is really made for the live event industry. So in each of the data segments, we collect several data from where we create at the end a sustainability report. So what is important to understand, because we know that a lot of people still start working on sustainability of the events, there is not a lot of mandatory data fields in the system. So you have to define the name and the location and the duration of the event in the system, that the system can store the event itself, but all other data fields are optional. So you can start in a very, very small configuration, even if you have very, very little data available. You have very little access to data available. You can start with that and learn from working with the tool what type of information or data might be helpful for you to improve your sustainability strategy. So the tool shows you what is nice to know. Let's go a little bit more into the details. Why we added all of these additional modules, like the venue module, for example. And I have here an interesting example. Because when there is a permanent venue location that is really doing hundreds of events per year with their customers together, a lot of venue locations already have sustainability certification, like ISO 14001. So they have data available, but certification like 14001 is annual business year related data. So what you are doing, you're doing an event that takes 4 hours or 2 days. So you have a different time relation to that. So, and this is the reason why we implemented the venue module. So the owner of the venue with their certification can add their ISO data into the system in the venue module and make it available for you. So there is a button available to publish the data to all platform users, make it open, available. So this is what you see here on the screen. If there is a venue location, set it up and you do an event in the venue location, you can select in the event module all available venue locations for your event. The system shows that to you, including address and contact details and all of that. And then you find here that black button. That means that you have a venue location with data assigned to your event. And then now it gets interesting because when you set up your event, you also type in the space, the time you using the venue location. So the system knows the gap between. And there is a mathematical algorithm in the system. So if you press that button, you see that here, there comes for you calculated out of the venue data estimation of the power consumption, water consumption, or the waste amount. So we link the existing data with your event itself, so the system can calculate that. So you can use the data if you're in the pre-production process and you want to have an estimation about your footprint, for example. Or you had no access to collect the data. You take the data from the venue location. Or what you see here, when you have specific processes in place to reduce, for example, energy consumption, the system shows you what it should be planned and where you are. So you already see that you're better than you should be. So the existing data from the venue location helps you a lot and can reduce the time to collect data, because for every data that is available in the venue module, that can be wastewater, catering, transport, and all of these things, can be used automatically, if you like, in the event module. So there is a mathematic model behind that, and that really helps you to reduce also the time to collect the data. So, and have a look into the venue module itself. I was just talking about that. So the data that typically pops up in environment certifications like the 14001 defines the data structure we use in the venue module. So when you have environment certification processes and certificates, as a venue owner, you just take the data you got there and enter it into the system. What we also have is information about accessibility of the venue location, or if the venue location has sustainability certifications or awards that allows you as a user in the system to prove if the data was certified from an external third source. So you really can trust the data you work with. So, and this is a good example where an open database, a venue database, can help you to search on the data to get a proof of confidence about this with a certification document you can see there, and work and simplify the process of creating data. The similar structure we have for product and services. So manufacturer can go, it's an open database, into the system and can add products that have, I think, a beneficial environment footprint. They are more sustainable than others. And here we follow the same structure. We have a KPI structure that comes as standard certification processes. So the manufacturer can register the product and add the sustainability KPIs and their own certification document. So you can check and prove if you're searching for sustainable services or product, if this was really certified external and you can trust the data. You can search, you can talk to the supplier, get access to the product, and you can tell the system you use the product in your event. So the calculation and the report will respect the data you have selected there and use in your event. Very helpful. So supply chain information is a crucial process in sustainability. Another aspect is if you have to provide annual greenhouse gas reports, or you know that in the future or today already you maybe have to create ESG reports because your company has a size that means that you fall under ESG regulations. The system also offers organization module. The organization module is for the organizer itself. Typically the situation is companies, event organizers running a lot of events every year. So they need a function to sum up the data from the individual events for annual statements. They need an overview about what they're doing. So the organizer module is the summing module where you can, as an organization, sum up all of your events. When you go in there, that even list all of the events that were created by you over the year. So this is helping, assisting you to build annual greenhouse gas reports or ESG reporting structures into the system itself. So all of that always typically ends with creating a sustainability report at the end from your event. So in the sustainability report, just a press of a button, the system makes your sustainability report. You will, of course, find everything about the greenhouse gas emissions from scope 1, 2, 3. This is, you see also in graphical elements displayed. But as we collect also other data like audience travel or food and recycling rates of that, the report includes all of that. You can see statistics about the travel, type of cars used, infrastructure information. So the system brings that all together. So you really have a larger sustainability report that shows you all of the data you have collected. These reports can be used to compare. You can compare two events and have a gap report out of that. So that means that you can see if you improve over time that the strategy is working, because you see that scope 1 emissions are maybe from one event to another reducing by 3 or 4%. You see it's working. On mid and long term, I can reach my goals. So this is important. And as we use ESG structure, ESG GI and CSRD framework on that, we align to to ESG reporting standards with a data collection structure behind that to make it future-proof. Because even if you not fall under ESG regulation today, we see a strong increase of legal regulations globally that even smaller companies get affected in the future to have to provide ESG reports, because also on the pressure on the finance industry. They need more information even from smaller companies about their ESG activity, also to prove their own sustainable investment strategy. So even if you're not affected today, you need it in the future. And there's more and more sponsors out there. They fall under global ESG reporting regulations. They already ask today about ESG style reports that they can sum up and use in their own ESG reporting structure. So the structure of the report is built up to that if you have to hand over the sustainability report to someone else who understand the data structure, is following the science calculating model, and it's using the ESG infrastructure. But that's not all. So I'm very happy. That's first time that I have to say that. We released yesterday the first software update for SustainSymphony. And as we designed the tool, I told you we had a lot of frameworks in mind how they should apply. So we added yesterday the support of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals in the tool. So if you design your own sustainability strategy and you collect specific data, the system is able to identify that and see that. So even if you collect, you already see which type of KPIs are part of which goal in the 17th Sustainable Development Goal. And if you add positive data, the system understands what you're doing. The system can at the end create, it's called the SDG matrix report. So the system shows you with your sustainable strategies and the data collection process what type of ESG, SDG goals you support in your environment. So you have the ESG style report and you have a SDG style report in the tool. So this is very new. It's just a day old, and this is something where we hear quite a lot of people like to support more SDG goals and focus on that. And this tool helps you even with the report structure to identify your SDG-based sustainability strategy even to external people. What also is interesting, specifically when you start and you just did 2 or 3 events and you start to collect more data from different sections day by day. So the system knows from the data structure and the size and the duration, industry average standard. What is the industry standard for the data? So if you doing activities and your result is positive and you have less entered than industry average, the system is able to add a green thumb to that activity and recognize that automatically. So in the report itself, you see that the green thumbs are all summed up. So you see automatically in the system by the data collection process where your sustainability strategy is working well, because you can earn these green thumbs. It is a kind of a rating system to show how good you are, and this is helpful for the people that just start with that, because you see, I should focus on that, I can simply improve, I get another green thumb, I see I can increase, you can maximum earn 20 green thumbnails, the highest rating, what is available. And you see you can build up that step by step with every event you put into the system. This is how we measure the KPIs, we analyze the KPIs, and we put that at the end into that rating system to make it transparent. We know that some of the users also use it for external social media communication to show that they reach specific steps on the sustainability agenda to make that transparent and public available. So I like to invite you, this was just a very quick run through about the product itself, how that works. I mentioned in the beginning, there is a much higher strategy above that has to do with the green finance regulations we see globally, with ESG report standard, with risk management and business development. These are the fundamentals we have developed as we created the software. So tomorrow I hold a longer 2-hour seminar talking about that. What is risk management in the live event industry? How has this to do with ESG reporting? And how is the link to the finance industry? So you're invited, it's a free seminar. Take a photo, there's a QR code to register. So there I dive deeper into the finance regulations, the reporting regulations, how that directly affect the live event industry and the live event operators. Because I really like to promote that you talk the same language than the finance industry, because they will rate your company and that will have direct impact on the finance of your company. It has started already. So maybe some of you already were in touch with your house bank asking some questions. This will improving over time in the European Union. This is a mandatory since beginning of this year, legally mandatory, that the finance industry have to collect informations. And tomorrow I talk about what you should know to talk the same language than the finance and insurance industry to present your sustainability strategy maximum positive, and that they can understand and follow your strategy and give you a very high green rating and give you a very low risk insurance points on the next company finance. Yes, as I mentioned, it's free version. You just go on the homepage, register your user account, go online. There is on the starting page is a introduction video. It's not very long, it's 7 minutes long. It shows how to navigate and how to set up projects. I strongly recommend when you go in the system, have a look to the video first, then you understand how to create projects, how to navigate, how to create a report at the end. That might be very simple, and I hope the user phase is very simple, that you quite quickly can dive into the system, learn it, use it, and enjoy it. As I mentioned, it is version 1.0. We have the plan to develop the system together with the users. So if you have some great ideas, if you have some recommendations for data collecting process or specific additions on the reporting side, get in touch. There's in the system an email contact option. Get in touch with me. Let me know. The SDG we have announced here was one of the first larger user requests we received. So we will add more functionality to the system. That version, what you see here, will always be free. So we not have the plan to make it in 6 months chargeable option. it is something we like to promote the live event industry to speed up in the transformation process, to secure our business, to secure the live event business also on long term. So, and I hope you will have a look, you will enjoy and work with it, and it can be a help and addition to you. So thank you very much. And now I think we're coming to a question session. If you have any question, there will be a microphone. It's coming. Yeah. And then you can ask any questions. Yeah.
Oh, that's really weird. So I don't know exactly what my question is, but I suppose what I'm thinking about with looking at this is I'm assuming that the majority of your inputs for this are finance figures, so amount spent on travel, amount spent on different sort of parts of your event. No. What?
We take really the real measures. That means travel is in distance, energy consumption is in kilowatts, for example. Water is in liter or gallons, so really collect the consumptions you are able to read on site on the location.
Okay, great. I think my question was going to be, is this kind of predominantly spend-based carbon accountancy? But I guess maybe not then if you're...
No, this is called market-based.
Yeah.
And this is what is required from finance and ESG regulations. And this is what I mentioned, because when you start today, the most important thing is to have a mid and long-term strategy. And the mid and long-term strategy is only a mid and long-term strategy when you have access to early data. So we found out that it is very important, even in that, I will call it simple version, you maybe don't think it is too simple, in the simple version that the data you collect is future-proof. So the structure and how it is calculated is something where we know it will be usable in also upcoming legal requirements over the next 10 years. This was very important. This is also the report itself, and you make the gap analysis. The process itself is made on ESG regulations. Because if you create a report and you have to send the report to your bank, that must be in sync with the bank regulations. Otherwise, they will not love you.
Right.
And this is what we try here with the project, to make sure that even if you're a beginner, that the structures we give you are future-proof.
Right. To follow up with that then, how do you reconcile kind of going forward? Your early reports on this probably would kind of have a lot of holes in them, as you kind of don't have much data.
Yeah.
How does the system manage, let's say in 5 years' time, you've got loads more data?
Yes.
In theory, that means that your event actually looks worse because suddenly, there's all of these extra sources of carbon.
Yeah. This is not unusual. This is standard. So even larger industrial organizations start always with very little data and build that up. Yeah. So you see also when you dive deeper into the tool, there is data quality questions. So, for example, the quality of the data is also something what at the end the finance industry like to see. So when you collect data and enter that, you will see the system ask you if this was an estimation, was it provided by a third party, or was it on your own meter read. So this is already in that basic version here, because what we like also to report, it will pop up of that was just estimation. Yeah. So we try on the quite complex ESG structures to have a very smooth entry here. It's also when we talk about the supply chain questionnaires there, SDG based, the real question quite complex to answer. So we tried here to simplify that in the questionnaire, but it's really still the main point. If you've spoken to your supplier, if they have a carbon reduction strategy in place, yes or no, simple question. Yeah. So and this is what we try here to identify really the future milestones on a very simple way.
Clever, thank you.
Hi Robert, thank you for that. I have a question around, if you're doing events in lots of different parts of the world, the databases that your software pulls from, are they location specific?
The version what we have here is on the emission factor not, but when you go and register an event, you will find out that we have interesting questions because we ask for the location, we also ask for the type of the event you add there. So we believe that if there's enough qualified users on the system, that we can add that global location band calculation and the data structures, like even with the stakeholder structure you see in the system, is a very simple first step to introduce that type of data collection process. The system itself is a multi-regional, multi-emission factor system.
Thank you.
So it's made for global touring, so say that. No questions anymore? Yes, so thank you that you attend the session. So you're invited to go on the system, just test it. If you have wishes, questions, get in touch with me. Use the email contact field in the software. The email comes direct to me. And then we can chat about your ideas and your recommendations. I'm very open for that. Thank you very much.